It finishes Real Sociedad 2, Barcelona 1. So who would have thought, after everything, after all the criticism we've thrown at Real Madrid, there's only 1 point between the top two now in La Liga as we welcome in Luis Garcia. Craig, I want to
start... What a great title race. Xabi Alonso, you must be thinking.
I know.
Luis, Xabi Alonso must be thinking, maybe I could have won this league.
I feel like we've seen a lot of dull games across, like the Premier League, that, you know, hasn't quite had the spark in entertainment.
And I tell you what, hasn't had the quality.
But this game was so much fun, right from the start.
I often say this about Spanish football, and Luis knows a lot more about it than me. I do feel, and Real Sociedad are one of the bigger teams, but they're having a poor season. I do feel, outside of Barcelona and Real Madrid, the other teams who have nowhere near, and I'm not necessarily talking about, you know, Athletic Club and Real Sociedad, but they have less money than similar-sized clubs in England. That for all the money the Premier League has, the clubs further down the pyramid, or further down the league, we get more bang for our buck in terms of quality. The technical ability of some of these players, it's not always a great game. But when you watch some of these Premier League games from mid-table to below, some of these teams, it's just about sitting in. It's about survival. And what we see from a lot of the Spanish games, if you watch Real Madrid playing Elche and Vallecano and Celta Vigo going to the Bernabeu, I know they're having a better season this year, but it's not too long ago, I'll go back to the Rafa Benitez, when they were sitting just out the bottom three and playing terrible football. And what we got today was a team who's not playing well in Real Sociedad, in San Sebastian, but they are a big club, and they have changed the manager, given bang for their buck. Yeah. The technical, and yeah, they were under pressure, and Barcelona didn't play badly. That's the strange thing. They did not play badly. This game was just bonkers. And yeah, Real Sociedad were defending for their lives at the end, but for the bulk of the game, and certainly long past before they went down to 10 men, they were trying to take the game to Barcelona, and that made it so entertaining. And I don't think Hansi Flick can sit in that dressing room and go, right, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because they did 95% of the things correctly. Yes, they've given up 2 goals. And when you score a goal, as they did to get back in the game, you've got to be more switched on than they were. They were not, and they got punished. But Barcelona did a lot of really good things and just never got their just rewards for bad finishing or great goalkeeping or offsides or whatever it was. That's just not their day. And Real Sociedad can be really proud of what they gave. And, you know, from a La Liga perspective, that was a quality football match.
Yeah, if you wanted to sell someone just on football in general, this would be a great 90 minutes to show them, Luis.
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about Pellegrino Materazzo arriving to Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad was kind of going with the flow, drifting there in the river, not playing well, not giving results. A team that normally is built to try to fight for European competitions with a lot of quality, but no idea, no philosophy, not football, something that we all love. And definitely we saw a big change. And I totally agree with Craig 100%. With Barcelona today, they did so many good things. The intensity, the mobility, the dynamism of the player, the changing the players, the creativity that we saw. It was a fantastic game, but in the end, what mattered the most is when you have to be clinical. You have to finish your chances. And Barcelona today, they got in front a keeper that he was on fire today. It was fantastic. He made 4 fantastic saves that he could have big goals. So if you have to play, you go to the dressing room, you cannot go and make any complaint about your players, because definitely if you're going to lose a game, it has to be like this against a team that never lost the face of the game, that he had that personality, that they scored. When they conceded the goal, Real Sociedad, you could see the Barcelona start dominating more the game, but they never went down. They didn't go on a solid block back to try to defend. No, their reaction was straight away to go forward, to bring the ball as closer to the box as possible, and they found that goal from Guedes. So in the end, it was a fantastic game to watch, and 2 teams that they went for it, and in the end, it was Real Sociedad who was a little bit more lucky in the last there into the box, but Barcelona did such a great job. So what a race we got now with Real Madrid just 1 point behind Barcelona.
It's funny that I can see Real Madrid fans sitting at home going, oh, if they'd lost 2-1 against Real Sociedad, you'd be killing them.
Yeah, but we'd probably have sat here and watched a most boring Real Madrid performance that had no dynamism about it, that had no energy about it, that didn't have let's be honest, that game had us on the edge of our seats. I said at half-time, that pressure will have to tell. But it didn't. But it didn't make it any less exciting because the chances were just end to end, but particularly at one end, at Real Sociedad's defensive end for the bulk of it. And that's the difference, I think, when Hansi Flick goes away and when Real Madrid have gone away recently, in victory and defeat, and they've looked at themselves in the mirror and said, what was that game all about? It was about result but not performance. This game today, and it is a results-driven business, of course it is, but this game today didn't go Barcelona's way. But if you can tidy up those couple of things defensively, which is a big ask because it's been a weak point for them, or can be a weak point for them, there's nothing to suggest if they continue to play like that, they will miss the amount of chances that they missed. And they won't put teams away. The chances of them playing like that and not putting teams away is very slim. So there wasn't a lot wrong with Barcelona's performance today. They come up against a side that was prepared at times to go toe-to-toe with them and probably had their best performance of the season. And sometimes you get games like that. They're at the top of the league. I think it's a mini wake-up call that, there is a title race still on. But in terms of performance from Barcelona, it was exciting to watch. But in the end, you cannot deny Real Sociedad dug in there for the 3 points.
So, Luis, do you think the Real Madrid fans who whistled yesterday are sat at home going, maybe we should support this lot because they can win La Liga?
Yes, of course. What it matters the most is to look at the table after the weekend and be proud that you managed to get a good result, even though that it wasn't the best performance. There's some bright lights in the second half with the newcomers, with the Guller and Masantono and Ceballos. But definitely, you have that hope that you are just 1 point behind and you can win a trophy or 2 trophies if we talk about Champions League. Definitely, Real Madrid is all about the spirit. It's all about the history of the club. And even though when they are not delivering good performances on the field, they are always going to be dangerous, always going to be fighting for the trophy. So, yeah, I don't want to lose to say that Barcelona, because they lost today, they won, I think, 11 games in a row, and they are in a fantastic moment. Yes, if you play 10 times this game, probably 9 times you're going to win it. Today, it was in the side of Real Sociedad. They will really deserve it. So I'm not concerned about Barcelona performances because I expect them, if I'm Hansi Flick, to go there and say, listen, guys, just keep on going. Just do exactly the same in the next game because it will go in our side.
If Real Madrid win it, though, does Alonso come back? Because half of that is his.
Is he on the sort of victory parade bus going?
Yes.
Hey!
No, he's got to get up halfway.
He's got to get but he has to get Carlo Ancelotti's sunglass and cigar.
Yeah, most definitely.
But no, it's going to be. Look, I think if I'm Arbeloa at Real Madrid, it's a big task. It's a big job. Obviously, that goes without saying. But as a player, when you're in a very tight title race, and you're not playing well, and you go through these periods in a season where you have a period where the team's not winning, the crowd turn. The crowd turn on you. I had it at Celtic in the battle with Rangers. The crowd turn because they think you're going to bottle it. You're going to chuck it away. And so you have these periods, and for Real Madrid it's been an elongated period, probably most of the season, where the crowd get on your back. They really get on your back. And at that moment you either puff your chest out and roll your sleeves up, or you hide. You hide. We've seen it. Players will hide. They won't be shown for the ball as much. And so there is this pressure that Real Madrid are under. But the one thing that you want when you haven't played well is to know that you still have an opportunity. You look at Atletico Madrid, for example, they won today narrow. I looked at the league table. There's about that much of a chance of them being clinging on. Here we have Real Madrid, who have not played well, who have had turmoil, who have sacked a manager, who have just lost a cup, who have had the crowd turning on them, and yet they're 1 point behind. If that doesn't inspire a dressing room, I don't know what will. I mean, if I'm 15 points behind and I'm Real Madrid, I'm not coming out of my house. I'm driving to training. I'm doing my stuff. I'm playing the game. I'm going home, right? I'm keeping my head down. But they're 1 point behind. There is a massive opportunity here to turn around the season. Barcelona are the better side to watch. There's no doubt about it. They are the entertainers. They are exciting. They have some guys that will turn the game on a dime. But that doesn't mean they're going to win this league. And Real Madrid, you may say, looking at that table, have made the right decision for both Alonso and for the team to give themselves a chance to peg a gap back that is unbelievably only 1 point.
Luis, we'll say thank you very much to you, mate. Of course, Luis will be back midweek as we'll be turning our attentions to the return of the Champions League, of course, in 2026. There was one other game, though, in La Liga that we were focusing on, Atletico Madrid. Oh, just a reminder then, ESPN FC
more
on
FaceTime.
YouTube.
More FaceTime.
There you go. Be sure to check out the content.